Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Rapids News. I'm your guy, Landon Stone. Today, we will be talking about new signings, departures, and possible lineups for the Colorado Rapids in 2019. Welcome to episode number one. One of our first signings this year, and arguably the biggest, is the arrival of Key Kamara. Now, for those of you who don't know who Kikamara is, he's probably the most one of the most veteranized people in the MLS. Um, he is 34 years old, so he's a little bit older, but him as a striker up front really gives us that leadership that our young strikers like Nicky Jackson and Andre uh, Shinyashiki, I believe is how you say it, um, will need. So some of the just little stats here and there are he scores in about 1 out of every 3 games. Like scores, not just only assists. He scores 1 in 3 games, which is a pretty big improvement considering our strike force has not been good the last couple of years, including the likes of Yannick Boley, Guile Barnes, uh, and even Nicky Jackson. But he was a rookie last year, so we can't really count him as much. Um, in the last 4 seasons, he's played 126 matches and he's had 17 assists and 64 goals. So every other game he's involved in a goal, whether he assists or scores, which is massive for the Colorado Rapids as they try and find their attacking prowess that they tried to find last year but ultimately failed. The next new signing that we have is a player named Diego Rubio. This man is 25 years old, and he's not quite as good as Kikamara in my opinion, as he has a pretty low assist rate. Um, let's go over some of his stats. So in the MLS, he's played about 51 matches. He's had 16 goals and 7 assists. So not quite half the time he's involved in a goal. But I definitely see him as a possible, um, maybe veteran for the Rapids, as he is pretty young at 25. He can still learn from players like Kikamara, and he can teach some of the young kids how to adapt to the MLS. Um, Last year, Anthony Hudson brought in Boley and Barnes and had Mason, but these two look way better and should help the attack grow tremendously. Moving a little bit down the pitch, we have Nicholas Mezquita. This player, in my opinion, does not look that great. I feel like we could have not signed him and been okay, and maybe found our left back that we crucially do need. As we already have Boateng and Blomberg and even Gashi that can kind of play in that center attacking mid kind of role. He is 27 years young, well, old young, kind of in the middle there. Um, During his 18 games with the MLS, he scored 3 goals and 1 assist, and that is a pretty low rate. I mean, that's not even a goal every 5 games, so that's kind of disappointing in that way. Although there is a massive benefit to Nicholas Mezquita, and that is with his free kicks. So there's something to look forward to. He might be a really good backup kind of player, but I don't see him. Maybe I could see him starting this year just because he is supposed to be an upgrade to Boateng and Blomberg up front. Now, this next signing is definitely something maybe we just got lucky with. He's a free agent, and his name is Benny Failhaber. Pretty sure most of you don't know him, but for a little bit of information, he plays a center mid role. He has played in the U.S. senior team many times. I believe it's 44 U.S. caps, which is amazing. And he's played in the MLS a lot, 236 MLS season games, with 37 goals and 56 assists, which doesn't sound that great, but considering he plays many different midfield roles, that is not bad at all. That's that's roughly one goal involvement every 3 games. He definitely will add depth to our team, and maybe he'll most likely even start. But Acosta did pretty well, and Price, he's going to be battling with Price for that spot. He is 34, so he's getting very, very old. But there's many benefits to Benny Failhaber. I mean, he's an MLS veteran, which is going to help the entire team, um, not only in just the actual games itself, but teaching other players um, how to react and how to play, and just give that team that extra veteran intelligence that will help the team. As well, another benefit to him is that he's what I like to call a position master. He can play cam, center attacking mid. He can play center mid, that role, and of course he can play center defensive mid. And with his age, that might be a better position for him, just because how slow he may be. Center attacking mids should be fairly quick on their feet and good. And not that saying that Benny Failhaber isn't, but he's getting older, and father nobody can beat father time. So one of the biggest players that the Rapids signed this year is Keegan Rosenberry. Now this guy, I've watched a couple interviews on him. He seems super nice, and he seems super excited to get into this Rapids squad. He did get called up to the U.S. national team, and with his age of being 25, this right back is going to be a fantastic signing for this team. He's played for the Philadelphia Union, so he already knows about the MLS, knows how to play it. He's played against some of the best, and that's going to really help us with a league that's evolving with players like Ezekiel Barco, Martinez from Atlanta United, players like Piatti. He's just that player that you want on your team as your right back, and he's going to be a perfect replacement for Marlon Hairston. In fact, probably a better replacement, as he looks like he can prove himself to be one of the best in the entire league. This next goalkeeper signing was definitely a depth help with the signing of Clint Irwin. He is 29 years old, and most of you should know him as his successful preseason trial for the Colorado Rapids in 2013. He did eventually leave to go to Toronto FC, where he went to 2 MLS Cup finals. He started one of them, and they lost. It wasn't really his fault. They went to penalties, and most of his teammates couldn't finish off their shots. Unfortunately for him, 2 years later, they went back to the MLS Cup Finals, but he was injured for most of the season, and Alex Bono took over, and as a backup, he won the MLS Cup Final. The benefits for him is he's gotten better with age, definitely more mature, definitely has the understanding of MLS, and with that, he also is a proven MLS goalkeeper and can really help any other goalkeepers around him, including Tim Howard. And they definitely brings good depth, and he might be the replacement for Tim Howard as he retires at the end of the year. The next goalkeeper that we brought in is a little bit younger than Clint Irwin, as he is 2 years younger, at the age of 27. His name is Andre Rawls. Now, when he came into the MLS, he had no starts for the entire time at New York FC. But he went on loan in 2018 and did really, really well, winning the USL Western Conference, which is a pretty good achievement. He lost in the playoffs in the semifinals, but he also did have to play Didier Drogba. Now, yes, with age, Didier Drogba isn't as good, but he still had to play a team that was still really, really good. The benefits for Andre Rawls, he's USL Championship starter material. That doesn't mean he's going to do really well in the MLS. He didn't get to start at NYFC, but another benefit is that he's younger than Howard, which is going to be a benefit. And maybe he'll eventually take the starting role. We never know in this MLS. It looks like both of these signings are when Andre Walls were just depth help, as we lost Zach McMath over the winter transfers. But yeah, that rounds up our new signings for the year. And next will be the departures list. Some of our most notable departures over this last winter transfer were the loss of players like Marlon Hairston, our right back, and Edgar Castillo, our left back. Not that Marlon Hairston was great, but he was a really good attacking, more of a wing back. And as he leaves for Houston Dynamo, we replaced him with Keegan Rosenberry, and we lost Edgar Castillo, and we have still not had a replacement for him, which is unfortunate, as he leaves to the New England Revolution. Another player that we lost over the year, which I've mentioned before, is Zach McMath. He leaves to the Vancouver Whitecaps, which is unfortunate, just because he is younger than Howard. He probably would have definitely gotten that starting job, but we have replacements for Zach McMath, and I'm definitely proud of our depth choices that we got over the winter. Another player that I personally saw in one of the games of the Colorado Rapids is Enzo Martinez. I thought he played really well, but again, I don't really know much about Enzo Martinez, and he just left to Charlotte Independence. Another player that didn't do as well as we'd like, it was a little bit taller, which was definitely a target man option, which was great, was our striker Caleb Calvert, and he went to St. Louis FC. But with Key Kamara, he can be our new target man and really rack up the goals, because he does know how to. Now we move into possible lineups for 2019. Most players that are injured now will be recovered by the time of the start. I hear that Key Kamara is out for about 2 months, and our first game's in about a month, but that shouldn't affect too much. So I'm going to go as if we don't have any injuries. Granted, this could happen, and I have backup plans for that. Here, we're going to start off with the 4-3-3 defensive-minded formation. Now, with the signings of Rosenberry, he's definitely going to be our starting right back. I don't see anybody competing for that. Blomberg, probably not. Rosenberry's definitely that go-to guy. Other players that are going to match up in the back are Scheusberg and Smith. And then our left back is going to be Declan Wine. I know we have Sam Vines, but I don't think he's quite there yet, and I have him on the bench, as you can see, as well as Wilson as our backup. He could start. He could be interchanged with Scheusberg and Smith, depending on how good their form is. I definitely see Price starting still, and he can be that center defensive mid. He's not going to win any balls. He's pretty short, but he's definitely going to fight for them. As we have Acosta moving up the field and Failhaber being that center mid power player that's just going to feed the balls, come back and defend. He's going to be everywhere. And that's what we want him to be. And their backups are going to be Blomberg and Mosquita. Now, Mosquita plays an interesting role as he is a free kick taker. So maybe if we get into the later half and we get a free kick and we want subs, he could definitely fill in for a tiring Failhaber, as I see Acosta playing most of the game unless he's playing bad. Now our left wing stuck with Gashi. I don't know if he's going to stay in that role, but I definitely can see him being really good, and maybe even Cerna putting it into Kamara and Gashi and really heading those balls into the goal. And since they're super tall, they can help massively. I have Cerna starting at right mid. I know I could have Blomberg, but those can be interchanged, honestly. And then, of course, Rubio and Jackson on the bench to help if Key Kamara or Gashi maybe gets tired. And then, of course, over here we have Rawls as our third choice goalkeeper, Ford as our third choice center back, Boateng third choice center mid as a sub, and Nicholson off to the side. He could be put in for Blomberg if we wanted, but he is also a little bit injured, nicked up, I believe, is what I'm hearing. And then, of course, I don't quite think Shinyashiki is going to be a starter. He may even leave to the switchbacks, but I'm not 100% sure. This next formation, I definitely feel that this is going to help the team the best, and Anthony Hudson most likely will use this formation as he did last year. We still, again, have the same four in the back with Vines and Wilson interchanging. And then, of course, we have Acosta and Price, just like we did with the 4-2-2-2. Same is like this with the 4-2-3-1. Acosta and Price, with, of course, Haber being possibly put in there. Then we have Gachi on the left wing, left mid, and Cerna on the right mid, right wing. Being able to be switched out by Blomberg and Nicholson, which can play left mid and right mid, as well as Failhaber and Blomberg be able to play center attacking mid for Mezquita, or gosh, you can move into that center attacking mid formation. The only difference between this one and the last few is that, as you can see, Kamara is one of the lone strikers, just like in the 4-3-3 defensive. They had Gashi up there as another striker, but Kamara here is the lone striker and definitely the target man. And having Rubio as a backup, can't complain about that. So even though Rubio is not in the squad, he definitely can contribute as a substitute, as he is a little bit younger and he can get those legs running while the rest of the team is tired. So yeah, this is the 4-2-3-1 formation. This next possible formation, I definitely think it might be well used under Anthony Hudson, but it's not an often used formation. But with the players that we have, I find it might be very useful. So we still have our four in the back as regular, with Vines and Wilson being the backup players for either of them. Now we have Acosta and Price dropping back as CDMs. And Failhaber can definitely pop in midway through, or Price can pop in midway through, and we can put Failhaber where Price is at. And then we have move on to our center attacking mids with Gashi, which definitely played a lot of that last year, and our new signing Mezquita, which we could definitely find a spot for him here. And we have Boateng and Nicholson to replace them. And then, of course, we have Kamara and Rubio as our strike pair duo. Most of these formations that I have a two in the front, just because I feel that having Kamara and Rubio up front together might cause havoc for the teams. This is the last formation I have proposed to y'all. It's definitely a lot different, as you can see, with a 3-4-1-2. Having three center backs is definitely not the worst, and I have Smith and Wilson out on the sides just because I feel like they're more versatile on those sides, and plus Schoisberg's really tall, so it'd be really good for crosses. He can definitely knock those out there. With Ford and Ford as their backup, as you can see, Rosenberry is not in this formation, and this is perfect if he needs a break. Blomberg can fill into that right mid / right wing back formation, and Gachi can do the same on the left side. Failhaber is perfect for this formation just because he can drop back for defensive help, or he can move forward for attacking formation. Same thing with Acosta. They can interchange. It can become a deadly attack, with Mezquitas playing that center attacking mid role, and his backup being Nicholson or Gashi if they move him, and Nicholson can play left mid. And then you can see Price can play for Acosta and Failhaber. And then we have up front Kamara and Rubio playing that striking formation role, which is definitely going to be deadly. And then we have Jackson and Shinyashiki to replace them, or Mezquita if needed, depending on how they're going to play them, and depending on form, of course. And this is one of the first formations where we don't see Cerna in. I just feel Nicholson might be better to replace Mezquita or Gachi if they need, and Rosenberry can replace Blomberg if they need, with, of course, Tim Howard starting in all of these formations. And that rounds up all the proposals for formations in 2019 for the Colorado Rapids. That is going to round up our Rapids news for the day. Till next time, it's your guy Landon Stone. Subscribe for more of your Colorado Rapids news. And next time, on episode 2, we'll talk about dream signings. Peace.